Hello everybody, Bobby here, and today we're going back to doing normal figure reviews with the Mezco 112 Collectables Classic Suit Spider-Man. So going into the box, we have a red background with the black webbing and the traditional black spider. Definitely looks like Spider-Man's chest logo. Spider-Man on the top. I'm not gonna get into this. We pretty much know. We got the back Spider-Man logo, Mezco 112. In the back, we have the assortment of everything you're gonna get this figure. You got the figure. You have I would say the more Steve Ditko, smaller-eyed Spider-Man. We have all the same webbing that we got with the black suit Spider-Man. We have pretty much the same hands we got with the black suit Spider-Man, not including the two web shooting hands, because, well, the black suit Spider-Man doesn't do that because it's a symbiote. And we got all these promotional pictures, which look awesome. We have the base, and we have the posable arm. Going back here, we have that. So let's compare this box with the PX exclusive black suit Spider-Man. So they're obviously two different boxes. This one is cardboard, and this one is tin. Just wanted to compare those. We'll be comparing these two figures together when I get this guy out of the box. But I just wanted to compare the boxes real quick. So this is a sleeve cover, so we'll just take this off, and just like the Michael Myers, we can see everything's in the box. We have Mezco we have 112 Collectables. We have 112 Collectables. 112 Collectables. Legal stuff. And the Mezco logo in the back. So let's just get this guy open and see what he's all about. So before we get into all the articulation, let's get into the accessories. Starting with the most important accessory to this set, a plastic bag. Joking aside, no, we get, like every Mezco 112, we get a little baggie to put all our accessories in if we decide to keep them outside the box. I personally keep mine in the box, so this little baggie is not needed for me at all. But it is a nice addition. So the next thing I want to talk about real quick is the head. As you can see in the lower arm, into the hand, the lower legs to the feet, the neck, and then the head is all raised webbing. So I think that's cool. The cloth part obviously isn't, but it's all good. I'm personally not a big fan on the raised webbing, but, it works. But what I wanted to talk about is in the head, the eyes, there is sculpted white plastic, but there is a clear lens-like thing on top of it. So I think that's really cool. I think that gives his head a lot more depth more than it has. And that's what this alternate head as well, with the Steve Ditko head. And the same thing, we have white painted plastic underneath with a clear lens over it. And it's really cool. And the heads are simple to pop in and out of. Easy, really easy. It really has that amazing Fantasy 15 style look to the head. I wouldn't necessarily say in the body, which meaning the logo, I think isn't really Amazing Fantasy 15-esque. Definitely not the feet. That's really modernized Spider-Man looking right there. But the head definitely reminds me of that first issue of Spider-Man, or the first issue Spider-Man appeared in. It's really cool. taking this head off and putting on this head, which reminds me a lot of the if you don't collect Marvel Legends, they put out a Amazing Spider-Man 2 Spider-Man, and this head reminds me a lot of that figure. And funny enough, that was the last figure I got before I quit collecting Marvel Legends altogether. I have it somewhere. I just don't remember where. But let's get into the other accessories before I get off topic. We have our fisted hands, and they're raised webbing as well. That's really nice. So, and they're easy to pop out, and let's give him his web swinging hands. So just to take this figure out of frame real quick and pop those in. Putting these on with the joints can be a little bit hard. Definitely it depends on where the joint is pointed at, because if you're going to put these in, it could definitely make the pegs go downwards, and I definitely would say be careful, because I would hate it if these pegs would snap on you by accident trying to get your hands in, especially on an $80 figure like this. And you can kind of gives like a Spider-Man's giving a thumbs up right there. And these hands are made for this webbing. So getting into the web accessories, we have this bendable web line, and you could bend it however you want. It's really easy, and I would say Spider-Man can hold it a lot better than the black suit Spider-Man could on his. His grip on it's a lot more tighter than it was on that one. So you can still get your web swing poses with this guy. So that's not bad. Just to get like a small little pose to it. And yes, the other hand can obviously hold it pretty well too. You just tuck it into the fingers, and I would also tuck it into the thumb as well, right there like that. And that's where I get the best grip to it. Make sure the fingers are under it. It will fall off. But yeah, I definitely say it holds a lot tighter than the black suit, and I think it's really good. Actually, it wasn't hard to get out, but I like when you actually, it doesn't fall out. I'm glad it doesn't. So, just to show off the hands in better detail. Okay. Now let's get into the wall climbing hands. And I wouldn't necessarily say these come with an accessory, but I will definitely show the other accessory off with these real quick. But you can get your wall climbing standard poses with these hands. Really hard to do with the legs though, but and I like how the neck and the back go so far back that you can have him looking up to where he can wall climb. It's just really hard to do that with the legs. Spider-Man, Spider-Man does whatever a spider can. He does come with the same thing that the Black Suit Spider-Man had, which was the little hand with the magnet. And you just clip that onto him, and then put that on my lamp there, and you can have him just standing there on the metal surfaces, which is cool. Alright, time to come down there, Mr. Spider-Man. And then getting into the last pair of hands, we have, I'll just get in better detail. Oops. They did really good on the sculpt of this. And we have the web shooting hands. We'll just focus in on these real quick too. These have the grooves for the webbing, just like the black suit one's fists had. So we'll just pop these on real quick. And camera's a little out of focus now. Great, there we go. He looks good though. Now looks great. Now the webbing that goes with these hands, there's 4. So taking these off, we have the longer and shorter web. I would call these the projectile webbing, where he would hit people with these. And they all fit pretty easily. So you get this groove. So there's a little hole there. You just fit that hole into that groove. And just the groove, and then there you go. Not that bad. And then you just peg it in there as normal, as so. And then you do the same thing with the other web hand. Gotta make sure the peg gets in there pretty good. Now doing this will make the hands a little looser onto the arms, little pegs on the arms. But it's all good. It's got the good effect to it. It's not perfect, but I would say it's better than other Spider-Man figures I've seen try and recreate this. Because really, I haven't seen another Spider-Man figure try and do something like this. There's some Spider-Mans that come with webbing, but not to the extent of this, I believe. And if it is like this, it's like a little shooter or something. Come on. Stand. His feet are so weird. He doesn't like to stand by himself without his base. Might have to get his base in here. There we go. And he looks good. Next we have the more longer webbing that's all spread out. And we'll just pose him with that real quick. Might have to put him on his base real quick to get him to stand correctly. Could be that these webbing is a little top heavy too, so it could be causing him to fall over. Either way, doesn't look bad. Nope. Not bad at all. And then getting into the last, when we have what I like to call is him shooting onto like a wall or something, or possibly someone's head, or grabbing on someone, not actually shooting at them, but shooting to catch them. Kind of webbing, and it's kind of got like these faint grabbing finger style webbing, and I like that. So that's cool. And we'll just put that on old Spider-Man there. I've commented on these webbing before, obviously in the black suit Spider-Man video, so I really shouldn't be taking too much time to talk about these, but there we go. And I like it's kind of got like a silver paint job to these webbing, so that's really neat. And we're going to put Spider-Man's fists back on him to give a more neutral pose as I talk about the rest of his accessories, which that would be his display base, which all it is a blue base all around with the red spider logo that he has on the back. Now comparing the two, they're so different. This is a more classic Spider-Man logo that's on his back. Well, this is a more stylized version, I would say. But he does come with a little peg there. He's got peg holes, obviously. You can put it on there. And it stands pretty good. Unless you tip him over. What you can do is you can take this, the part of the arm, peg that hole, and there is the arm pose to Spider-Man. It works. I mean, for Spider-Man, obviously it works. I mean, you have it's a little bit of a tight joint, obviously. It can go up and down. And then we got this joint. Now we got this joint. And it can also turn. And we can also move the gripping part of the arm. It's a really tight fit on mine for some reason, so I don't know. You can take this out if you have a Batman or Superman or a figure that has a cape. And I believe there's like these wires that come with your caped figures, and you put a little accessory on the arm. So you take this off, so you can put that on, and it would be like right here or something. And you can like pose your capes. But Spider-Man doesn't have a cape. So, well, normal Spider-Man doesn't have a cape. There's probably a Spider-Man out there with a cape. I don't know. Spider-Man's got lots of costumes. But you can get Spidey in many poses off the ground now. So that's cool. Before we get into articulation, the size of this guy is a little bit taller than 6 inches. Almost 6.5. So that's pretty good. Alright. So getting into articulation, this guy's head, without the neck joint, can go up about that much. Can go down about that much. can tilt about that much. And it can go all the way around. With the neck joint, you can go up about that much. Go down about that much. And it can tilt about that much. Oh no, Spider-Man broke his neck. Alright. His shoulders can go up about that much. And can go all the way around. Due to the cloth, it can't, though. There is an upper swivel right here. Double jointed elbow. The wrist can bend this way and this way. Left and right. And it has a swivel joint that can go all the way around so that it kind of simulates a ball joint, kind of. Because it can go all the way around, and the joint moves too. So the joint can go up and down, and it can go left to right with the swivel. So that's really cool. The upper torso is a ball joint. So it can go left and right, up and down. And then the lower torso also is a ball joint. So he can go down about that much, up about that much, left and right, like that. His legs go out about that much, and they go in about that much. They don't go back that far, but they do go up pretty good. You give him like a McFarlane pose because he does have like a hip swivel. So get him in like a McFarlane pose with those crazy leg movements. He has double jointed knees. He has a swivel in the lower leg. That's due to the fact that this is plastic instead of cloth. So I'm guessing that's why it's got to be tucked into the boot. So that's cool. And we have a ball jointed foot. So the foot goes up about that. Goes down about that much, and up about that much. And the little foot ankle pivot only goes out about that much. And that's the biggest complaint about this figure, is that his ankle pivot is really bad. I mean, it's not as bad as other figures, but for Spider-Man, that black suit Spider-Man, his articulation is the best. And his ankle pivot is probably one of the best ankle pivot I've ever seen in any figure in my collection. And with Spider-Man, you need a good ankle pivot. And with the articulation on this guy, it's a bummer. And it's not like you can't get him in good poses. I mean, you can get him in those poses, but the ankle pivot is a disappointment. But he does have a lot of articulation, and that's the only complaint I got about the articulation, is the ankle pivot. To be honest with you. Here is the 112 Collectibles Spider-Man next to the Marvel Select Venom. They look really good together. In fact, in my opinion, I think this is probably one of the coolest Spider-Mans that could be posed with this Venom. I think Venom's the perfect size for Spider-Man. Unfortunately, though, a couple days ago, my Venom broke. His head, his little ball joint broke, and I had to make a new one so I could put the heads back on. So, he's not 100% anymore, and that is a disappointment, but I had to fix him for this review, so he's still got the head movement. I mean, his head still goes up and down, but that's cool. But now we're getting off topic. But yeah, Venom looks pretty good next to Spider-Man. I really think it looks really cool. Putting him to the side, I wanted to bring out a more modern Marvel Legend. it's not really modern. It uses the big time Spider-Man and the Spider-Man from Future Foundation figure. It's the Kane Scott Spider-Man. But this is probably the most recent Marvel Legends Spider-Man that I could find. So I don't have like Pizza Spidey or any of those, but I do want to get that Marvel Legends PS4 Spider-Man. I would like to get that, but this is, you can see that he's a little taller than him. I do think for a Peter Parker Spider-Man he works, just because my typical Spider-Man is a adult, not a teenager. And that's kind of what I'm getting out of this guy. Well, this is more like a teenage-looking Spider-Man build. So it's all good. Here he is next to my only Miles Morales Spider-Man, and that's a shame. I would like to get one of the Marvel Legends Spider-Man or Miles figures, or even possibly the Mezco one. I could probably get a knockoff Mezco one for like $40, $45. Take a while because it's in China, but and before anybody, oh, you get knockoffs. That's terrible. You're bad for doing. No, I don't care. I got the knockoff turtle figures from NECA, and I love them to death. He doesn't want to stand. He's really loose, so. But there he is next to him. He's pretty small, but for Miles Morales, that is pretty good. The only thing that's pushed me on getting the Mezco one is because Miles is too tall with that figure. So this is the right build for Miles. I mean, fully standing, which I can't really get him to do for some reason. Oh, there we go. I think that's the right size for Miles. Getting out a more normal looking Spider-Man, we have the Spider-Man Classics Snapshot Spidey, I think it's called. And this used to be one of my favorite Spider-Mans besides the Mezco, or not the Mezco, I meant the McFarlane Spider-Man figure. I still have, but he's like destroyed. His head's broken, his fingers are all broken off. But this is my second favorite, and yeah, that's what I've been using as before I got this guy. They don't look too bad though. This one's too muscly for me though at this point. To put alongside a more normal Marvel Legends figure that's not Spider-Man, here is the I think this is the Puck Build-A-Figure Wolverine. I got this at one of my local comic book shops a long time ago because I wanted to get the yellow Wolverine, the yellow and blue Astonishing X-Men Wolverine, because I had the X-Force one. And you can see he looks good, but the Mezco one's going to look a lot better with him. If I can get my hands on that. Not really availability-wise, but more money-wise. I just got me a Nintendo Switch, which is why this figure is delayed, because originally it was supposed to be last week, because I got this guy on Halloween. Funny enough. But I've been playing that new Nintendo Switch, so I haven't been able to get this review done until now. And to compare him with one more figure, one more before we get into the last comparison I want to get into. Here is my custom Marvel Legends Carnage using the Toxin figure. It's not done yet, obviously. There's some hair on him. I don't like that. He's not finished yet, but he's a work in progress. But I thought I'd show this guy off before I finish him. I think he's a good size. The reason why I wanted to make a custom one instead of getting the Select Carnage or the real Marvel Legends Carnage is for size comparison, comparing him to this Venom, I think it's pretty good. Because I wanted a Carnage that was sleek enough and small enough to go with this Venom. And the Marvel Select one is too tall, while the Marvel Legends is too small. So I think this Toxin figure is just perfect for both this and this. But that was the main comparisons I wanted to make before we compare him to the Black Suit Spider-Man. So, I love both of these figures. I honestly do. I obviously think that the articulation on this guy is better due to his ankle pivot. I love both of their designs. Obviously, my favorite design is the classic suit, but I love both these figures. I do believe that this guy's a lot more easier to get. This one sold out on Big Bad Toy Store and Amazon. It's like $10 extra, $10.15 I believe, last time I checked. And eBay, we won't get eBay prices, but I got mine on eBay for $80. I got free shipping on it. I would start checking around if you really want this guy. I do recommend it. I recommend you get both. If you're going to get this guy, get this guy. If you're going to get this guy, I would get both. I mean, I want to get all of them. I want to get the Miles, the Homecoming, the homemade suit. Can't get the homemade suit due to the stupid crap that Mezco does with their Mezco exclusive shops. And then they got like 2 hours and then zoop, they're gone. And I didn't even know about it until it was too late. Really doesn't matter. The only thing I really liked about the homemade suit was that it looked like Ben Reilly's Scott Spider suit and it had a Peter Parker head. Granted, it's from the movie, but it was a Peter Parker head. But enough said with that. These guys look good together. I mean, the black suit Spider-Man is a little bit bigger than red suit Spider-Man. But I can't complain about either one. Besides the ankle pivot, it doesn't really matter. I love them both. They are good articulation. They're good fabric. Can't really say. It's really hard to talk about sculpt on these figures when really all the sculpt is the art, is the clothing, but the sculpt in there, anything that is sculpted is nice. I really like both these figures, but this guy, it's not about him, so we'll get him out of the way. It's all about him, and I really like him. Something I really want to talk about is that the black suit Spider-Man and the classic suit Spider-Man's wall climbing hands are actually switched. So the flat-handed Spider-Man's hand for the red suit is switched. Their hands are switched. So the flat one is flipped around, and then the more gripping hands are switched around too. I thought that was a really cool thing that they did. I thought that was really cool that they did that. All in all, I really like this figure. Only complaints are obviously the ankle pivot. Other than that, I'm not a fan of the raised webbing in general, but it works with this guy. The fabric's nice. The articulation's awesome, except for the ankle pivot. And I mean, comparing it to the reason why I'm complaining is because the black suit one, I believe, came out after this one, so it gets a slide on it, but man, I really would have preferred that ankle pivot on this guy. But, like I said, other than that, he's got a good sculpt, he's got good articulation, he's got good accessories, he's got decent articulation, well, great articulation, and the cloth hides that articulation really well. I really like his alternate head with the Steve Ditko head. Let me actually switch that on, because we have not seen that much in this video, and I think that's a crime, because I think that's my favorite head on this guy. Kind of has that Japanese Spider-Man. I don't know if anybody's seen that show. That Power Rangers styled Spider-Man show they had in the 70s, I believe. Yeah, let me know if you remember that one. Well, I think people do. But yeah, this figure is really nice. So good that I give it about a 9 out of 10. I hope you guys enjoyed this figure review. Hopefully there's a lot more coming soon. I really don't know. I think the next one is whenever I get my hands on my 112 Collectables Ash. But in the meantime, probably just be doing some video game videos, live streams, and possibly a movie review coming soon around Thanksgiving. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bobby, out.